on The Fact Today, only on ATN.
It's a beautiful morning. Welcome to Sports Talk here on Atlantic Television Network. My name is Ekpo Temple. On the show today, Kwara State Table Tennis Tournament gets a new kickoff date. Nigeria Olympic Committee set medal target for Paris Olympic, and in football, Morocco secured controversial victory in Paris 2024 Open. Details of this and many more will be yours in our jiffy. Don't go anywhere.
Telling him not to counterpunch. Telling him not to counterpunch.
Corruption not in my country.
Driver, why you just jack us up and down like this now?
I hope nobody carry belle.
Why you ask oh?
Because this road where they see so, it no guarantee safe delivery.
We just dey vote for government, but we not get good governance.
At all.
Road so e no dey, light o usai, the infrastructure nko e come turn to be forbidden fruit for the city.
Corruption, spoil everything. Hello?
Hello, madam. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Mrs. Ayeni. I am calling from the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs.
Okay. Okay, I've been expecting your call.
Madam, remove this your phone from loudspeaker.
No vex. Now my phone be like that. Hello?
Are you there?
I hear, I'm hearing you.
Yes. We saw a copy of your invoice for computers, printers, and laptops.
Yes. Are you working on them now?
Ma, the prices you quoted are way too high now.
Madam, sorry, please don't cost.
We found the laptop you said is 1.8 million naira for 600,000 naira.
Hello?
Now my body network there.
I can't hear you.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATM.
Welcome back from that break. If you're just joining us, it's Sports Talk here on Atlantic Television Network. Emmanuel Michael is in the studio, and of course, you know how we run this together. Mike, it's a beautiful morning, and with showers, late last night, it promises to be a mind-blowing show this morning.
Yeah, of course, it's a showers of blessing. Very good morning to you out there viewing us this beautiful morning. Of course, in a very beautiful morning like this, there is nothing to talk about than to start a beautiful day with the world of sports.
To start a beautiful day, of course, I did mention to you that we have a lot for you this morning. The Olympic is on the way. But let's start with happenings around Nigeria, where the highly anticipated Kwara Open Table by spokesperson of the organizing committee, who stated that the event will encompass all categories of the game, both disabled and able-bodied participants. The inclusive nature of the tournament aims to foster a spirit of unity and encouragement across generations and abilities. The tournament promises to be a significant event with a total of 28 overall winners, ranging from all categories. He also emphasized that this structure will ensure a comprehensive recognition of talent across the different categories of the competition. Mike?
I think it's a nice one for me because in a time where the likes of Haruna Quadri is gradually winding down his career, this might possibly be his last Olympic appearance. You know, the likes of Fatima Bello, to name them. I think they are gradually, you know, leaving the stage for the younger. When you begin to ask yourself, after the likes of Haruna Quadri, who is the next tennis star that is going to take up, you know, the rackets, you know, to take their place? I think there is doubt if we have people that can be able to take the position of Haruna Quadri, Fatima Bello, to mention but a few of the players that is making us proud right now. So for me, I think this kind of competition is very, very important too, as to use it as a way of trying to harness talent as well, you know, give people opportunity to, you know, take part in the sport that they feel, yes, this is what, you know, they're endowed with. And by so doing, you get to pick one or two talent, allow the talent to pass through the rank with proper preparation, with proper care and all of that. I think we are going to find a possible replacement for the aging Haruna Quadri, Fatima Bello, you know, and the rest of the players right now. So for me, I think we should also endeavor to also explore other options of sport in the area where it is not well recognized. So for me, I think it's a nice idea. Let's hope that you know, this the aim and objective of this competition will definitely see the light of the day.
Of course, we hope that the aims and objective of some of these, you know, internal competitions will not just, but also, you know, develop, discover talents, nurture them, and keep them apart for world outing. Away from that, now let's talk about the Paris Games and the Team Nigeria. The Nigeria Olympic Committee has set an ambitious target for the upcoming Olympic in Paris that is starting tomorrow formally, aiming to secure at least 12 medals. This goal was highlighted by the NOC Secretary General Tunde Papola during an interview with newsmen. 12 medals as target. You think that is, I mean, 12 medals in, how many sporting units? 12 sporting units, you know, is the target, 88 athletes, and with the allowances, motivations, you think this is achievable?
Well, whether it is achievable or not, it's not even the crux of the matter for me. I think the crux of the matter, point of concern, is about the goal or target set by, you know, the Nigeria Olympic Committee, led by Popola. I think for me, 12 medals in all, be it gold, silver, or bronze. Out of 87 athletes that we've sent as representative, because it was 88 because before one boxer dropped out cost of injury. So out of 87 athletes that is representing us right now, we are just hoping to get 12 silverware. I think for me it's very poor. If you are going to the Paris Olympic game with such large contingent, this is the highest contingent in the history of Nigeria's Olympic, contingent. The last one I think was about 56 athletes or thereabout. This time around, made it to about 87 athletes, and you are setting a goal of, winning just 12 laurels. I think for me it's very poor. We had set a goal of 30 silverware, possibly 15 gold medals, 5, silver, or even 10 bronze. That could be, acceptable for me. Looking at the amount or the number of contingent that Nigeria is going with. So for me, I think it's a no for me. We should set a very high standard, have a high expectation, because take a look at the contingent of Nigeria. Do we have people that can churn medals in this year's Paris Olympic game? Of course, yes. Most of our athletes, they are on the top of their game as it stands right now. The likes of Favor Ashe, the likes of Fatima Bello, the likes of Haruna Quadri, Tobilola Moshun, Chukwuebuka Nekwechi, Odunayo Adekoro. These are athletes that you can be rest assured that come rain, come sun, they will deliver a medal for you. So for me, why limiting the target to just 12 where we have such a large number of contingents? So for me, I think I'm not comfortable with it. The last celebrated outing of Nigeria's history in the annals of the Olympic. I think it is the Atlanta Olympic game that we made a mark to the world, winning 6 silverware. That includes 2 golds. So for me, if that is our highest, outing at the Olympic, why not 1996 down till now? Check it. How many years down the line? And we are still hoping, to surpass that last out. I think for me it's quite disappointing. We should be aiming for higher. 87 athletes, you are setting a goal of 12 medals. That is for me very poor.
That is for you very poor, and of course, Mike is not contented. But if you look at the fact that we have not been able to, achieve medal hauls, at Olympics, look at what we did at the Commonwealth Games. One begin to think that if we have 12 medal targets, it's not just historic. I think what the Sports Ministry and the NOC are trying to do is to set an achievable target. An achievable target in the sense that we have not achieved that before. And they look at the contingent, yes, 88, like you said, but you can say, okay, this is more like an average. It is not too big, it is not too small, because we know that at the world stage, yes, we are hopeful, but you can never tell how far things will pan out. So we've achieved 6 medals, 8 medals. The last time we achieved those 2 medals, silver and a bronze medal. So 12 medals, the person would think that it's just in between the timeline of not too big and not too small. But regardless of opinion, how do you think that the reward system, or let me say, do you think the reward system that will ensure that these medals are churned out, is proper? From what we have seen them do, from the monetary pronouncement they've made, the campaign allowances they have discharged or disbursed, do you think that the monetary, the reward system for our athletes, even if they go and achieve these 12 medals and come back, do you think it is enough to say that it will motivate them to get in this one as compared to the other countries in the world?
Yes, for me, as you talk about the reward system, I think it will go a whole long way to motivate our athletes to giving their best out there to ensure that at least they make a very good outing. Take a look at the fact that the federal government has also approved the sum of 12 billion naira to support Team Nigerian contingent. Before you could say Jack, the House of Representatives as well doled out 100 million naira to also support the same thing. That is for the individual award or financial incentive for individuals. The federal government also set a record or $5,000 for gold medalists, $3,000 for silver, and $2,000 for bronze. Though so many persons have also come to argue the fact that the monetary incentive is not good enough. But then we must also understand that it isn't, I mean, it's not just the monetary incentive that helps or propel these sportsmen and women to give their best in the Paralympic Games. First, some of these athletes, they are professional. Some of them ply their trade outside the shores of the country. Even before 3 months' time or 6 months' time, when they take part in 1 or 2 competitions, they make more money compared to how much they are being given in this Paralympic game if you get to win a medal. So some of them are not even after the $5,000 for individual award, but then they are after making fame, they are after making popularity, they are after patriotism for the country, because the Olympic Games is the highest climax of sporting hostilities across the globe that happens every 4 years. Yeah. And it is the dream of any sportsman to be at the Olympic, because that is the biggest platform or strata for you to demonstrate or showcase to the world you're endowed with so thing. And for me, it is always a pleasure hoisting the flag of your country, and your anthem is being sung at the highest level. So it's because of the fame, the popularity, the glamour that comes with the Olympic Games that make these sportsmen and women, because if you go out there and make a name for yourself, it will be inked at the annal of history in years to come. The Choma Ajunwa here of this day, look at how far she went and made it, winning a silverware at the long jump. But today, her name still rings bell in terms of Nigerian athletes that have done the nation proud. So because of that long-lasting legacy, most of the athletes, do that just because they want that lasting legacy and not even the monetary incentive. Also for me, you take a look at the monetary incentive that the federal government have given out. I think it would be very, very good for these athletes.
They said anyone who wins medal gets $5,000 US, 3,000 and 2,000 respectively. Yeah. And so we're asking, I mean, this monetary, like you talked about Choma Ajunwa, I just recall that instead of giving them, okay, it's good to give them monetary allowance, but as compared to other clients like Indian, I did a research yesterday. As compared, like Indian gives their athletes close at about 200 and something thousand. Yes, for winning. But the thing is, like you talked about lasting legacy. Choma Ajunwa has been elevated from the ranks of the police. We saw that. Yeah. She has also been given housing. In fact, she's an icon in Nigeria forever. And that's because of the policy of trying to reward our athletes. But it's not just about Choma Ajunwa. What about others? What about the Paralympians that have also done well? How many of them have we heard? Maybe because Choma Ajunwa was just the era politically favors her. So what about the rest of them? So that's what we're asking. I mean, the reward system that will prepare athletes, because any athlete in the United States that gives all, they don't give enough. But the United States don't even give. This year, I'm not sure they're going to give anything. Britain on the recently don't also give. They don't give, but your name is etched. Andy Murray is revered today is because, I mean, 2-time Olympic champion. It shows that enough needs to be done. So we're asking, these athletes, you want them to win 12 medals. It is okay. But what can be done to keep them going in life? Because you win to the athlete is like, you never can tell, injury worries and all that. Somebody wins. We saw what Adegoke did last time at Enoch. Got at least to the semi-final before that injury came in. Yeah. Imagine that injury had scuppered his career. What will he be given, to be remembered for going that far for Nigeria? So that's what we're saying. Is it enough as compared to other climbs who, the moment you are enrolled, is forever? If you play a single match for England national team, your name is registered forever. You're an S international. You are. So have we done the NOC giving this target? Yes, it's fine to give targets, but the reward system, from what you just said, is it enough now when you look at all these pros and cons?
Well, it might not be enough, compared to other countries, but then we can't actually use the standard of other countries to begin to measure up as a yardstick for us here. If you even take a look at the history, if you must delve deep into the history of the Olympic Games, it is very large, a very large scope that we might not be able to exhaust within the time frame that we have. But you take a look at a little bit history about the Olympic Games. I think since when it started, Hercules and Zeus, who were the chief principal of the Olympics in the ancient Greece, in the 18s. I think the major purpose was more like a cultural festivity to bring sportsmen and women together. During that period of cultural festivity, there is a cessation of war. If any country warring against each other and you are able to take part in that Olympic game, I mean that period of the Olympic festivity in the ancient Rome then, Greek then rather, there wasn't war. Then if you get to win any major laurels, then you are not given any monetary incentive. It's just that your name will become famous. It will be in the annal of history, and a certain place will be named after you. This is what you did, and that legacy remains. The respect lives forever. So take a look. If you must go to the roots of the Olympic game, it doesn't come with financial reward, but times have changed. So also dynamics and the way of doing things is changing as well, because this is a jet age. You don't expect us to go back to the Stone Age and begin to do what they were doing. But then, that was the little history about the Olympic game, that the main purpose is not to give financial reward or incentive, but to also immortalize the name of those who have also performed excellently well. So for me, but then, like I said, these days, time have changed. You must, as a matter of must, attach financial incentive and rewards to any Olympian who go out there and make a name for himself. But then again, the financial reward, is it good enough? Not good enough, because we need to immortalize them. The Atlanta 96 Dream Team that won the gold medal in the football event, a whole lot of promises were made to some of them. Some of them are even still alive today. But then, some of those promises, they have not been fulfilled. Some of them were promised houses at Abuja then. They were promised different kind of things. But till today, I mean, federal government, they have not fulfilled their promises. And will you also encourage another sportsman, another athlete to go out there and win a gold medal, looking at the fact that the previous promises that you made to the athletes that came before them were not fulfilled? So for me, how do you want them to give their best? So in as much as I'm not comfortable with that, but then there is need for us to go back in retrospect and begin to do those things that will help encourage our sportsmen and women to start giving their best, because knowing fully well that after their 8 days in the game, they will retire peacefully, safely, and comfortably as well. And their name will be sung as a national hero for them. So that, for me, gives them that joy, to double their effort, and not even the little paltry sum that you give to them after winning any major, because that little paltry sum, rather, that you are giving to them, vis-a-vis what they earn during the course of the season in their club side, is way bigger than what you are giving them just after 4 years. And
it doesn't make sense when you place it, in comparison with the naira.
Exactly.
So if you take it out there,
countries like sorry to bob your to bust your bubble. Countries like Venezuela, as poor as they are, they even award or give more financial incentive to their athletes compared to Nigeria.
I agree with you. I saw that yesterday. I was surprised. I took my time to look at the reward system. And maybe we're going to talk about, because we're going to focus on Olympic this evening. So maybe we're going to talk about it more. And I was marveled. I saw Azerbaijan.
Yes.
And I was wondering, I said, what are we doing? I mean, we're giving this part some, some countries are expected to be giving. They are not, but I understand the likes of British, the Britain, the US of this world, if they're giving 39 as rewards for winning medals, you understand, because they have a system, an institution already that caters for athletes till lifetime. But I ask myself, do Nigeria have such? Why don't we give big money if we're giving money? But like you said, I think it's honorable to agree with you on that regard, that something should be instituted. That is something that before he left, talked about it. But somehow, it looks like those policies that he initiated, I mean, yes, this man is doing so well and trying to continue with some of them. But having an institution that caters for the remuneration, I want to put it that way, and the housing and everything about athletes. It's not too much. After all, someone will say that the money that goes that goes under the carpet cannot be compared to what we want to do. If you want to do housing for 50 athletes, it's nothing. Nigeria. It's nothing compared to what money that are misplaced or misappropriated for wrong reasons. So, I mean, what are we not saying?
It's a sad narrative, but then it's a reality that is staring us in the face that we must do everything possible to ensure that we stand down on this negative narrative by changing the tide and bringing our sportsmen and women to the front row of honor and glory so that they continue to do the country proud.
All right, so we're still talking Olympics. Let's move away from the target of the NOC now, and let's move on to other interesting matters this morning on Sports Talk. And Aruna Quadres has been handed a familiar foe in Romania's Edward Lunescu, while his compatriot Olajide Omotayo has a tough duel against Iran Noshad Alamion in the first round of the men's singles in table tennis competition at this year's Paris. What is more painful is losing in the first round, Mike.
Very, very painful, but then I think it's been a very fair draw for Nigerian players out there. I think for some of the players, they also got a very difficult, pairing. Maybe talk about the likes of Fatima Bello, who got the Chinese, pair out there. And the Chinese, they're always very dreadful, very dangerous when it has to do with the table tennis because they are good in it. Away from that, I think for Haruna Quadri, Fatima Bello, and the rest of the they got relatively an easy draw. When you take a look at the draw generally, as it has to do with the African players taking part in this, but it's a very tough draw. Even the likes of Umar Asa, Adagula, they've also been handed a very difficult and a very tricky draw out there. But then, I hope they are going to, take the last African Championship from out in Ghana down to this year's Paris Olympic Games, so that we can be able to make the difference. Because Africa, we've come a whole long way, and we need to show this to the world.
And we hear that Yannick Sinner has withdrawn from the Paris Olympic with tonsillitis. The Italian struggled with illness during his Wimbledon quarterfinal loss to Daniel Medvedev. This is a very sad news for a young man who is the world #1, who should be at the Paris Olympics.
Yeah, for me, a very debilitating condition, a very devastating situation that some of these big names is not going to be in this year's Paris Olympic game. Not just him, the likes of Iga Swiatek, the likes of Marketa Vondrousova, Onjoboa, Yannick Sinner. These are some of the big names. In fact, we have more injury concern this year's edition of the Paris Olympic game in terms of long tennis. Most of the key actors that you expect coming into this year's Paris Olympic game as a favorite, they've all pulled out because of one injury or the other, which for me I think is quite disappointing. The highest ranked player left in the scene right now, I think it's Carlos Alcaraz and Novak Djokovic. I think for me it's quite worrisome because most of, even Britain's Emma Raducanu as well is not going to be part of this year's Wimbledon. I've mentioned other names, Anna Zabalenka, and Onjoboa, Coco Gauff. I mean, these are big names that you expect to be at this year's Paris Olympic game because these big names actually makes the event very thick. There are many of their fans are the culture of the fact that you just hear the name that Emma Raducanu, Onjoboa, Marketa Vondrousova is going to be on court so day. Most of their fans will turn out in their number because it's a lifetime opportunity.
Get to see them.
Get to see them once before. So for me, I think it's quite disappointing one for the player out there.
And of course, very disappointing there. But like you said, maybe we'll keep our finger crossed to see how far things will unfold in the coming days. But hearing, I mean, it's even more painful when you get to hear that at the start of Olympic has started and some players are now withdrawing. And you ask yourself, why didn't they withdraw earlier? But I mean, injury, like you said the other day, you never can tell when it comes. It can knock you anytime, and at that time, it's kind of difficult. You just have to. It's your body, and so you cannot disobey it.
Sure.
Disobeying it is even more dangerous, and so. But we hear that Coco Gauff becomes the first youngest American to be a flag bearer at the Olympic Games. And I'm wondering, man, it's what a historic turn for her.
Very historic.
Where you have the likes of LeBron James. Becoming an American to be. I was thinking it's going to be LeBron James at some point, but getting to hear that Coco Gauff, they just want to make the history and make more talking point because the more you have talking point attracted to your country, the media more media hype around it, and so I think that's what some countries are just intentionally doing.
Well, for me, I think Nigeria started it.
Exactly.
Also, laying a foot map or footprint for others to follow, where they actually announced Tobilola Motion as our own flag bearer. Many people raise an eyebrow into the fact that, according to them, there are more experienced players that are making their fourth appearance in the Olympic Games for Nigeria. Players like even Haruna Quadri is making his fourth appearance. So many persons question the credibility or the process of also electing announcing Tobilola Motion as our flag bearer. But then I stated it yesterday quite clear that sometimes leadership quality is not about longevity. It's not about how old you are. It's about you being able to have that spirit of man management, because when it has to do with leadership, you must be able to manage people. If you can't manage people, then there's no way you can be made a leader, and that is why it is not surprising. Sometime in a football club, a young boy, a young player could just be given the captain armband, where they have other experienced and old players that have stayed in that club.
Like Mbappe in France then.
Exactly. So sometimes it's about your leadership quality, and I made it very clear that Tobilola has that leadership quality. Then again, before even less than 24 hours, United States of America also made their own announcing, picking this lady as their flag bearer ahead of big name players or even experienced players that have won titles at the Olympic. Players like LeBron James, who everybody expected that because of his prowess, because of his reputation, because of his age and his achievement, would be given the nod, but then he wasn't given. So it's about leadership quality, and of course, it's not about the authority that get to name it. It was a collegiate, voting or appointment by members of their athletic team out there, and that is why they actually picked. So for me, I think good one for them. Let's hope that she continue to bring in that leadership quality in the team and help his country out there, to achieve their previous more than their previous outing rather.
All right, we'll go on a short break now. When we come back, we'll talk about more from the Olympics as well as some football news in Europe. Don't go anywhere.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring all sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today. Only on ATN.
just a vote for government, but we not get good governance.
At all.
Roads so no day. Light outside. The infrastructure it can't turn to be forbidden fruit for the city.
Corruption, spoil everything. Hello?
Hello, madam. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Mrs. Ayeni. I am calling from the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs.
Okay. Okay, I've been expecting your call.
Madam, remove this your phone from loudspeaker.
Now my phone be like that. Hello?
Are you there?
I hear, I'm hearing you.
Yes. We saw a copy of your invoice for computers, printers, and laptops.
Yes. Are you working on them now?
Ma, the prices you quoted are way too high now.
Madam, sorry, please don't call.
We found the laptop you said is 1.8 million naira for 600,000 naira.
Hello?
Now my body network there.
I can't hear you. Network is bad.
Madam, we can hear you. Continue.
Hello, I can't hear you. We call you back.
Their behavior not good now.
Madam, now this kind behavior they kill our country. You suppose do things differently. Make Nigeria for better.
Corruption not in my country.
This message is brought to you by the Akin Fade Foundation, the Marketer Foundation,
and with broadcast support from Atlantic Television Network.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on-the-spot news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economic reports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
Back from that break, if you're just joining us, it is Sports Talk here on Atlantic Television Network, and it is that time of the day where we roll you through the happenings, from the world of sports. So we did talk about some Olympic news now, but before we leave the Olympic, this morning, let's talk about the Super Falcons and the preparation. And they are preparing massively against Brazil. The Samba ladies, they were in Bordeaux training and preparing. I'm just wondering what a clash it will be, coming back after many years. So those are Super Falcons and the Samba ladies. What a clash, Mike.
It's going to be a big one. Coincidentally, too, the last time that we were at the Paris Olympic game, I think our last meeting was against this same
Brazilians, yeah.
Before. Then again, our outing again this time around, we're also measuring up against them, coming up against them. It's going to be a very tricky time. But you take a look at the history. I think twice that we've met with the Brazilians in the female category of the football. I think they've had the better part of us. They've defeated us twice. This is the third appearance. I think for me it's going to be a very difficult one for Super Eagles because we know what the Brazilians bring to the table in terms of women football, and they're also coming into this very one with one of their legendary players who they want to give a very high honor before she actually leaves the stage, talking about Marta. So for me, it's a handful of opponents for us to contend with. How far we can go, I think it's only time that will tell.
How far you can go is the only time that will tell. Let's move on now to some club football. Let's know what is happening in this series, and a lot happening. And I can tell you that it looks like the game that we saw. I mean, we saw a game from Vincent Kompany, and that game ended 4-0. What a bash! And a lot of person are already anticipating that the men we're going to see a different style of play from Bayern Munich come this new season, Mike.
Yeah, I think it's a good one to start, but then it's not 4-0. It's actually 14 goals to 1, and not 4-0. So for me, you take a look at the players on score sheet. No relatively known players are there. I think it's more like trying to also give the rooms to see what the academy angle of the Bayern Munich is doing. Most of the players featured in that game, they were all feeders team from the academy out there. But then it's a good way to start, for Vincent Kompany. You can be able to at least get 1 or 2 academy players via these friendly or pre-season games out there and integrate such player into the senior team. Is going to be a nice one. But then it is always a very positive way for you to start a new job as a coach elsewhere.
And they're not also forgetting that, Mike, yesterday, the football angle of the Olympic, we saw what the drama that played out between, Morocco and Argentina, and what a controversial win for Morocco. I mean, some person are still coming to terms to see what transpired and how they came out victorious in a game that has ended 2-2.
I think for me, it was very controversial. Even Mascherano is also complaining about the same situation, that they scored an equalizer, what looks to be an equalizer in the dying minute, but then after more than 1 hour delay, they had to call back the game after VR review and all of that. Said it was an offside and the goal was cancelled, and controversially victory was awarded to the Moroccan side. If it were to be an Africa that such a treatment was meted against, by now we'll be shouting, it was manipulated, this, that. But then I think for me, it's not a good way to start, going with this kind of controversy in a football match at the Paris Olympic Games. It's not a very good way. But then I believe the organizers, they are watching out for this very one to correct some of this normally, so that we don't get to see it happening as the competition progresses.
We're not going to see it happening as the competition progresses. And of course, one more can we say, let's move on. And looks like we'll have a lot to talk about. A few days ago, we saw Arsenal preparing for the pre-season tournament. We saw some of the players, and we also hear that Teofori, the Italian, might just complete a move to Arsenal soonest.
It's just a matter of some hours right now. That deal is almost done and dusted. And for Arsenal, I think they need as key players into the squad to help them win this season, this upcoming season, English Premier League, and that is why they are preparing. Calafiori very near to completing his deal with Arsenal.
And talking about this, we see here that in the Nigerian scene that Ifeanyi and Emena might be joining the Sky Blue Boys to play the CAF Champions League, and he played a pivotal role for Abia Warriors 2 time ago in the Federation Cup, but it looks like he will be coming back to be part of Remo Stars. You know, remember Ifeanyi and Emena when he was playing for Rivers United?
Yes, of course, and you need such an experienced defender in your squad while going for the continent out there to be able to solidify your defense and give it that very tight shape that you need at the back line to ensure that you don't concede much goals. And what a player he is. He's no newcomer to the Nigerian Premier Football League. He's been there. You understand what it means. And also featuring for a club that would be representing Nigeria in the CAF Champions League. I think it's a good one, a good recruitment for them because it will bring his wealth of experience to bear in the defense line of the Remo Stars.
And we also hear that it looks like a lot of preparation, ahead of the start of the league, and I mean, we just hope that some of those things that we have yearned for will come to, to reality, especially in the area of getting our team ready for the forthcoming or the start of the forthcoming season, on 31st of this month. But we hear that FIFA will continue to encourage, women football, and the World Cup in Australia and New Zealand, 1,041 clubs from 48 FIFA member associations across 6 confederations are set to receive a share of the revenue for the release of players who participated in that particular tournament. And so Nigerian Super Falcons should also be very pleased to get some of the chunk of the donation.
Definitely, and that is why it's very needful for you to develop your women, football, especially because a whole lot of amount of money is being given by FIFA in form of grant as well to also encourage the development of women football. I think for me it's a nice one, and we'll be benefiting from this FIFA fund out there. What a way! I think this one will also prepare some countries out there to start doing the needful. The money that FIFA appropriate or disburse to their member, nation for the purpose of women football development should actually, be used for the money, because a whole lot of money FIFA have sunk in their member nations in terms of women football development. But you juxtapose the amount of money that have been sunk in with the physical achievement on ground in terms of women development. I mean, it's not equitable with the financial fund that FIFA has released. So for me, I think it's just about a deliberate action by different member nations of FIFA to start using the money appropriated for women football development for the purpose to which it is meant for, because if they do it, they also continue to stand to gain a better part of the interest. And this is one of the angle of benefiting, that the club side that these players represent, they get chunk of money for releasing their players just to take part in FIFA organized competition.
And of course, we also believe that in the coming days we'll get to even see more. And as we prepare to wrap up conversation this morning, it looks like a lot of happenings, in that particular one. Let's see how it all goes. And I still know for sure that even at the Paris Games, when the female games will start formally today, we'll get to see more of that. And UEFA lastly this morning have sanctioned, some individuals for racist activities, and they have also come out expressively to look at the 24 competing countries at the Euros and some of the discriminating behaviors by their fans. The Serbian, Croatia, Romania, Slovenia, Australia, Hungarian, Albanian association have all been sanctioned by the UEFA.
They are not joking. They are not taking the issue of racism lightly, because just few days when two Spanish player was also found guilty of also chanting a slogan that is not befitting for their opponent. Talking about the likes of Morata and Rodri. A few hours after that, before they came up very strong against some of these countries as well, which for me I think is a nice one. The issue of racism in football, in sport generally, has become a serious concern, because I think we need to stop racism out of sport generally, because discriminate another just because of his color, or skin pigmentation. It doesn't make sense in any way at all.
Mike, it's always a pleasure to do this with you every morning, and let's look at what will transpire. Maybe this evening we'll come back, we'll take a look at the Olympic. That will be our center focus on the show this evening. We'll take you everything about the Olympics and Team Nigeria's preparation, and medal hopeful at the Paris. It is on already. The euphoria is on. The fever is on high climax. You don't want to miss anything about these Paris Games. Ekpo Temple is my name. I did the show with Man and Michael. We'll be back this PM for more conversation. We have Femi Adetula, former PRO of the Nigeria Olympic Committee, will be joining us live on this show. Hopefully, we can also bring one of the Olympians, one of the media personality that traverse the Olympics and other global sporting activities. Kunle Solaja who might also be joining us in second edition. But don't forget that we're always here for you. Have a lovely day. But start of trouble is one game, football without violence. Bye-bye.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports,